What's up, guys? Another patch and another patch overview for this week. This isn't the biggest patch in the world, but there is some balancing into it, so we'll go over that. Let's see. There's another free hero of the week. That happens pretty much every week, so if you don't have the runaway, you can get a 650 bling discount. It's pretty nice that they do this, to be honest. Like, it's good. And also, this week there is a double experience boost as well, so it would help you get up to that level 15 a little bit quicker if you do that. And I believe it saves your progress, so if you only make it to like level 10 the first time, you can wait until the free hero comes back around in like a month or something, and then end up getting it up to level 15 and get that 650 blings. I think that's how it works. So it's a cool thing for new players that don't have all of the heroes unlocked. They added a new material pack. I don't know. They keep saying that they don't want like the game to be pay to win and stuff, but then they keep every single week either adding a material pack or they reduce the price of blings in the shop. Like they give you more blings, not reduce the price, but they give you like 30% more or something like that. Like every single week I've been noticing this since these most wanted creatures started to come out. So I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. You can still get the creatures by farming. It's kind of like pay to advance, but at the same time, because you only have a week to do it, you're always going to get more if you use like packs and farm. It's always going to do that. I imagine at some point the Devlin and all those early creatures will start coming back through and will start to circulate. To be honest, I didn't even expect this creature today, which is the Rancid Runner. I didn't really expect this. I thought it was going to be maybe one of the traps that they have that was already kind of alluded to earlier. There's like some weird dampener type trap that was a little bit different. Looked kind of like a dampener though. I expected something with that. This thing I didn't even really hear about beforehand. Every other creature I've heard about beforehand, just through like browsing the forums and people finding bits and pieces of information. So here we get on to the balancing. So the Knight apparently had an invisible defense buff. It was reduced from 30% to 23%. I think this is a good change because I don't actually know. Maybe it's a good change. The problem is Knights are really weak without good gear, but with good gear they're kind of overpowered. Like, it's really hard to kill a Knight using the defense points that you have. If they have really good gear and they have 5 or 6 thousand hit points with 1,000 plus resistances, it's really hard to kill them. So this is a good change for them, but for people who don't have good gear, it's a little bit scary. They also reduced the damage of Flame Coat by 22%. I've seen a lot of people using this just kind of running into things, and everything dies because of the double damage buff a couple patches ago. So I guess this is a good change. And then Shielding Strike, they reduced the cooldown from 0.05 to 0.03. That seems like it's really low. I feel like it might be like 5 to 3 seconds. Like that, I don't think Shielding Strike is that low of a cooldown, or else you'd be able to use it every half second. That doesn't seem right. Unless I'm missing something here, but it seems like that's probably a typo, and it's actually 5 to 3, which makes a little bit more sense. Archer roll, the cooldown was reduced from 4 to 3 seconds, so basically they're coming back halfway on their changes that they made last patch. I do think the changes they made last patch were a little bit extreme. I hadn't really played my Archer much that entire week. This feels a little bit better. I still kind of wish they would have attacked the block chance on roll instead of the cooldown. I still think the mage is slightly more mobile, not because his cooldown is longer or is shorter. Like, he has a 4-second cooldown, but his dash is he dashes farther, and during that dash he's completely immune. Like, he's got full immunity to pretty much everything. Whereas archers can take damage from traps, I believe, through roll. I'm not sure if they can take damage from creatures too. I think they can. It's just your block chance is at 300%, so you will block the majority, but mages just straight up absorb things. And then the Vortex Rift, these are good changes to the mage, I think. Let's see, are they a little bit extreme? I think maybe the distance on Fireball's a little extreme, but I'll talk about that in a second. Vortex Rift damage reduced by 30%. This is just good because it's good and bad. Like, it's good because Vortex Rift is a really good ability. Everyone's using it, but I think the main thing from Vortex Rift is that it has a stun attached to it. I don't really think the damage is the thing you're going for. I think you follow it up with a spell like Fireball or Conflagration or whatever. Spells like that have AoE attached to them that deal more damage. So it's kind of like you pull everything together, you have it stunned, and then you use another spell on top of that to kill everything off. It'll help either way. And then the fireball max distance reduced from 17 to 10. I think this is a little bit extreme. I think they could have came back to 12, 13, 14, and that would be a little bit better. I do agree that the range is a little bit too long. It's like pretty much as long as headshot, which is kind of crazy. Like you can pull something from another room practically with the range that that thing is. Runaway's base mana regeneration increased from 4 to 6 mana per second. I don't think this is the problem with the Runaway. I actually played the Runaway a little bit, and she has no good AoE. I feel like that's her main problem. Like, her AoE is just terrible. She has AoE, but the damage is so low, and I don't know, it feels so bad to use her. Like, it just doesn't feel good. I don't know. I don't like the mana there. Boss room, they reverted the defense point cap that was introduced back, introduced in the last pack rather. So basically, the defense points got stealth nerfed. This was part of a general balancing test, but it ninja'd itself into our live version. This is kind of what I was thinking, and I mentioned it in viewer castles yesterday. That I was thinking that this was a change that was coming in for the totem thing, and I'm thinking that they're testing this with totems because I have to imagine that a 50 or 60 point defense boss room plus 5 or 6 totems, because you can fit so many of them in the boss room because it's such a large room, that I feel like you could just get so many buffs on those creatures, and having them all fight would be maybe overpowered. Like, it's possible that that would be broken. So they're probably trying to fix all in the boss room strategies before they come up. Another thing I was hoping for is, like, because we can only have one boss in our castles anyway, to just make them 0 points so that everybody can have a boss. Because I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. And for the love of God, unlock Flamio already. He's not buggy or anything. Like, he can just be used. Like, what do you call it? The spider is way more buggy than Flamio is right now. They should have released Flamio and put the spider on early access or something if they wanted to do something like that. But Flamio's been in early access for like since open beta came out. Like, it's been there forever. Like, they need to release that already. Keeping him as the best boss and making it a $15 boss pretty much. Like, the theme is okay, but there's other themes that are just as good. You're really paying for the boss when you buy that pack, and it's like $15, which is kind of extremely pay to win. So they really need to start looking at releasing him soon, because I don't think there's any bugs with him other than the fact that his fire does way too much damage. Like, that needs to be nerfed, but that's the only thing, or else everybody's going to use him. But either way, I think that's about it for this patch. We will jump over to, let's go to news. Let's go to the Rancid runner and take a look at him just from the page here. He's very expensive. 40 giant sweat is no big deal for, I don't think, anybody. The danger oxide might be a big deal for some people. I have a bunch of it, but the number 42s, 2 of those is insanely, like, it's an insane number. He's a 15 defense point rating, so he's basically a Pete Poundmore. In all intents and purposes, like, he's a Pete Poundmore. His pestilent smell hurts any hero in his vicinity. Watch out for his charge. So we're gonna jump into my castle. I have one of these, and we will take a look at him. Do I actually have him in the castle? Does not look like I do. Let's find him in the list then. Right here, Rancid Runner. And then I'm going to compare him to a charge Pete Poundmore if I have one available to me right now, or if he doesn't cost too much. I probably do have one somewhere, but I'll just buy one. Let's see here. I was actually worried that I didn't have enough number 42s to even buy one of these guys, but I ended up having 3 number 42s from all my farming last week for the other things. Alright, I'm trying to find this guy. Is this it? I think this is it, even though it says attacks with 2 3-punch combo. I'm pretty sure that this is the guy. I have so many of these resources anyway. The only thing I don't have is the tiers, but I don't have many of them, rather. So I think that's him. So I guess this guy is more resemblant of a Cyclops because Pete Poundmores are a lot taller, but his defense points lead him more towards the Pete Poundmore. Like, they're only 1 defense point apart, and they should have modeled him after the Pete Poundmore, in all honesty. Like, it should have happened. Because I think they I don't know, they didn't look at the stats correctly or something. I haven't even looked at the stats, but if you look, 16 points, 2140, and 3450. He's basically a good margin lower than the Pete Poundmore, even for only one defense point cost difference. 52 and 44% resistances, 52 and 44%. So they modeled that after him. The problem is his attack speed and his movement speed are slow on both for some reason. I have no idea why. So let's jump into the castle. I want to just take a look at him really quickly with you guys. I've already taken a look at him. I already have my opinion made up, but it's easier. You guys might be able to hear the thunder outside my house. It is indeed what it is. So that little animation that he does right there is when he lets his little stink go. That AoE is pretty good. It's about 500 damage a tick. It's pretty strong. His auto attacks are okay for 800. Like, they're okay. But he's so slow that, like, I'm letting him hit me, and I don't really need to do that. He also leaves this behind where it's like a Mega Mutton type trail. It's only 100 damage a tick, so that's pretty low. His charge only does 500 damage, which is probably the biggest deal, is that needs to be buffed way up for a 15-point creature. That's way too low. It needs to be closer to 1,000 damage. The AoE is pretty okay, and the auto attack damage is pretty okay, but the problem is he's so slow that he'll hardly ever get that auto attack off. Let's take a look at Pete Poundmore now to see what his damage was. Remember, about 500 damage on the charge, 800 damage per auto attack. This is 1,000 damage and 800 damage in auto attack. Same auto attack damage, but the putrid guy's charge is cut in half. And so if you count the charge damage to 500, and then you count that tick of putrid damage that you'll probably take, if he does end up getting his charge off on you, then that's the 1,000 damage right there. So basically it's the same damage as a Pete Poundmore, roughly. And the problem is he has slower movement speed, slower attack speed, and lower health. And what else am I missing? And also when he does his AoE effect, he has to stand there and do that animation. So let me actually jump back into the castle again so I can show that animation off again, because it was behind a wall for a second. I'll be honest, I don't really like this guy. He's better than Pow, but he's not really that great. So his first charge, he doesn't have that AoE on him, and then he does the AoE, and that animation is way too long. Like, he's gonna be dead by the time he gets that. He's gonna get, like, headshot, stunned, bear traps. Like, there's so many things you can do to knock this guy out of combat. Pete Poundmore isn't even really used all that much because of the fact that he's very easily juked. When he deals his damage, it's pretty nice, but I don't think this guy's gonna get his damage off enough of the time. He's gonna be okay in conjunction with other traps to force their damage out. Like, I could see him being used for, let's say I'm like coming into this room and there's a caustic carpet right here. So it's a really high damaging trap, and it's going, and I roll across it and just make it across, and there's a putrid guy right here that's going to charge me back into the caustic carpet. So I take his 500 and plus 400 from his tick, and I get maybe an auto attack, and then I get hit by this trap, and I'm going to take 1,000 damage from that. Like, I can see that being really good for burst type damage, but the same thing could be said about Pete Poundmore. Like, it's pretty much a Pete Poundmore that has one less point cost. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And then he has a slower movement speed. So you're trading off 1 point for slower movement speed and slower attack speed. But the other stats are basically the same. A little bit lower health on this guy, a little bit lower damage overall, but it's basically the same. And then and then he stuns himself basically as well. Like, he stuns himself to put his AoE on himself. Because it doesn't last forever. He'll have to do it again if it runs out. So personally, I don't really like the guy. I think he's not really worth the materials. Definitely not, especially being number 42. If it wasn't an epic material that this guy costed, I might build like 2 or 3 of them. But because it's an epic material and it's not only one but it's 2 of them, I'm not going to be building any more of these. I'll have the one that I have and that's it. And I might use it in my new castle, but it's not good enough where I feel like building more of those, so I'll wait until next week to do that. I'll probably build a new castle because I know you guys have been wanting me to do that, so I'll probably try and work on something. I don't remember why I had this hunger bot in here, but Yeah, I'll probably try to work on something. I really don't have any great ideas. I'll probably try to do something with the 3 caustic carpets I have, and 2 hot rollers because I haven't used those yet. I don't know if it's going to be spike rooms or if it's just going to be like zoning with caustic carpets and those traps with like more Goatman and Devlin. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I don't really have any ideas at this point. So I was really hoping totems were going to be this week. It's been alluded to that they're going to be like a week away, a week away for 3 weeks now. So I mean, we got to hope again next week. But I'm still happy that Mighty Quest is doing weekly patches. This isn't something that happened often back in closed beta. It was a month per update, and there was about the same amount of content that we're getting this time. Like, it was rare that you'd get a big patch, and the fact that we're getting one new creature every week is pretty good. Although they're just resculpted old creatures, which is not ideal. But I mean, what can you do? Um, I hope they do one for the Hungerbot or Scorpio and bring his hook length and speed back. That would be awesome. I would use that. I would buy as many of those as I could afford, like, and probably spend all of my blings on material packs if they did that. Probably not, but you get my idea. Like, it would be a really cool idea. If they're gonna keep remodeling, that would be something that I would like to see them do, because that displacement effect where like a hook would reach like all the way over here. Like, I'm not even kidding. It would hit someone all the way over here. You know, you'd aggro that with a Snotter, and he would just hook you and pull you all the way to him. That displacement is just so good, because you can't even see what's coming. You turn around a corner, you get hooked, you get pulled into a bunch of stuff, and it's really good. I used to love playing with those Hunger Bots, so... that's pretty much it for this patch, so, yeah, you can let me know what you thought about the patch in the comments below, and, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.